Hello, my name is Disha Ahluwalia and welcome to ThePrint. As of 2026, we have officially entered an era of global water bankruptcy. As per the report of United Nations University Institute of Water and Health, the world has already entered an era of water bankruptcy wherein we are extracting more water than the nature can actually renew it on its own. We are making zero effort to renew once a renewable energy to recharge groundwater. Our extraction power and percentage is actually more than what we're giving back to the nature. This is sort of a story of human development across the globe. Be it any sort of resources that nature has given us, we have extracted beyond its limit. And now we are facing the consequences. Water is one such energy, and we have been using it mindlessly without even understanding that there may come a time in future where we may not have water at all. The impact of this crisis has been seen in India. India, which is one of the world's most populated countries, is also facing the crisis which nobody is really talking about. Many cities are already water stressed, and with this comes a lot of implications, a lot of future uncertainties. There are a lot of suggestions given by experts on this. First is the modifying agricultural practices across the country, especially in states like Punjab, Haryana, where agriculture is the main source of economy. And also been there have also been suggestions for switching from wheat and rice to millets. Now these suggestions are quite extensive. Government and authorities have not really looked into this matter very seriously. We need scientific efforts and methods to really tackle this crisis, which will hit us in no time. It's been estimated by 2030 many cities will be deprived of water. Cities which are metro cities like Delhi, Bangalore are already suffering with this water crisis. But the real story, the real suggestion, which water crisis will put a full stop there. But there are also certain suggestions which are economical but also sensible. These suggestions these suggestions call for community-led. These suggestions call for revival of community-led water management traditions. These traditions go way back into antiquity. So these methods were used by even ancient and medieval societies. Our ancestors knew how to manage water. They knew how important water is, and they were also taking adequate measures to recharge groundwater. When the modern technique and modern when the modern solutions are inadequate, it's often advisable to look back into our past and to take some lessons from them, and also to revive past traditions. The one of the core issues that we face today in India with our irrigation practices and also with the water crisis, that we switched away from our traditional practices and moved towards westernization. Whereas archaeology is telling us that it's time that we go back to our roots and revive traditions which have been traditional practices which have been buried by garbage or lying neglected for years now. Archaeology, which is often known as a study of material and physical cultural remains from the past, is also a study which warns us about certain crises and also gives a solution for the future. In a recent editorial of Antiquity, archaeologists have spoken about how archaeology can really help combat and various climatic and environmental crises, especially water crisis. The editorial is basically urging archaeologists to come out and not just tell us about how the past environmental conditions were, but also talk about how these lessons from the past can help in policy making and help in crafting solutions for the future. Now, while we're talking about archaeology, one of the key sites that gives us a very early example of water harvesting is Dholavira. The core of our crisis today, which we face, is actually where we are extracting too much water from the ground via borewell and via various other methods that we use in urban setup. and in non-urban setup as well, but we are really not doing anything to recharge groundwater. Now, when we extracting more quantity of water while we giving back to the nature, to our earth, it really breaks the equilibrium. Whereas the people of Dholavira knew about that. Dholavira is anyway situated in Khadir Island in Kutch, which is a largely arid landscape. In this, the people of Dholavira knew the importance of water. They knew that monsoons are blessing, and they knew that monsoons can really help in recharging groundwater. They also knew that they need to do rainwater harvesting. The subsistence pattern and their settlement really required them to come up with engineering solutions. For this, they utilized two seasonal streams, Manhar and Mansar. These seasonal streams which go around the Dholavira on two opposite direction, and they use gradient, the elevation of the land, and built 16 to 18 reservoirs around the site of Dholavira. These reservoirs were largely rock cut with steps, and they were quite deep enough to store water for entire year. So this excess runoff, rain runoff, was stored in these reservoirs. Moreover, these reservoirs were also connected with the tanks and the wells which are in different parts of the city, such as in Bailey and Citadel, and also there were multiple wells in the lower and middle town as well. So the rainwater runoff was not only stored, but also there was reutilization of water. There was a mindful usage of water about 3000 BCE. So when the people of Dholavira can take such measures, I wonder why we can't do it with better technology, more scientific know-how in 2026. Now, Dholavira is just one of the examples of excellent water management and ecological intelligence. Apart from this, there are many such examples which are now being hailed as monuments. You may have heard of Rani Ki Vav, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Gujarat. And if you're in Delhi, you must have heard about Agrasen Ki Baoli. And there is also an Adalaj Ki Vav in Gujarat. There are many vows. In Rajasthan, there are more than thousands of baulis and stepwells and tanks. There are also equally large number of baulis and stepwell in Gujarat. Delhi and northern India has also multiple stepwells. Apart from stepwells, there are tanks. The Sudarshana Lake in Gujarat, which was initially built by Chandragupta Maurya, which is also an example of an early effort made in ancient India to build artificial lakes and tanks to store rainwater. Now let us give a modern example of city of Udaipur. You may, if you have gone to Udaipur, you must have admired the beauty of the lakes. Lake Pichola and Fateh Sagar Lake are two prominent lakes of Udaipur city. They add to the grandeur and the beauty of the city, but they have an ecological purpose. They were created artificially so that the people of Udaipur have water reserves all around the year, when even during harsh summers. Such methods were used across India, and they were used up till the British period. You have examples of Johar, Zing, various many measures taken for rainwater harvesting in ancient period, which are even used till today in many parts of the country. The tragedy is that where we have this traditional ecological intelligence, these knowledge system with us, we have let these knowledge systems sort of die. And when we have let this die, we are facing the crisis. Now imagine if we have to recharge groundwater. It will be very difficult to build newer stepwells, newer lakes. The easiest solution to this is to revive what is already there, to revive the baulis and the tanks, which are now become a dumping ground for garbage and also been sort of neglected. There are many lakes which are now dried up. The tanks which were built are also dried up. So the easiest solution to this is to recharge and revive them. An example for such revival comes from Chennai, where Chennai is also one of the cities which is water stressed, where various authorities and organizations are now working to revive a city of 1,000 tanks. So with this revival will come groundwater recharge, and once the groundwater is recharged, we will be able to sort of combat this crisis together. There are also examples coming from Telangana where architects and various other organizations and the state governments are coming together to revive old medieval baulis, so then they are used not just as monument to store water but also to revive history. As mentioned earlier, these tanks, these traditional irrigation practices and also the practices followed by all Indian followed by everybody across the country were abandoned during British period because we were moving towards westernization. Post-independent policy also didn't help. These policies were also taken us away from our traditional knowledge system. But in India, we have come to a full circle. Archaeology, history, our traditional methods are really teaching us that we need to revive the old to make space for future. Archaeology does not only tell us about the past, it really tells us how the people in the past survive crisis. It tells us to revive our environment and our resources, especially water. It also tells us that without these resources, these gifts that earth has given us, it will be very difficult for us to survive. It's time now to sort of wake up and do that and join hands in the efforts which are trying to revive old tradition systems, reviving baulis, tanks, and everything around us. For more details, you can read my written column in the link given in the description box below. And if you like such stories about archaeology, about how to link archaeology and bring archaeology to the present, and how archaeology can really help us in future, do follow us on ThePrint. If you like the video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to its YouTube channel and also various social media platform. Thank you so much for listening once again, and I'll be back soon with another Archeo story.